Okay, well, so you're probably wondering what the heck is going on with this video if you clicked on it. Well, that's because right after I uploaded it, I didn't realize that for whatever reason, the original video that I took the footage from, the commentary got kind of screwed up and it's completely off. And by that point, I had already deleted the original files for the recorded footage and the commentary, so unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to fix that old video. But what I can do is actually kind of go through this again properly and pray that my commentary does not get messed up. But this time, I'm hoping that it won't. I'm gonna kind of go through it again a little closer. Alright, so this is the festival again. I'm kind of jumping onto Sayori's route this time around since that was the next closest file I had to this part. So in this case, obviously, we're gonna go with siding with Natsuki here. I really do hate taking sides like this. Monika's the president, though, so I hope she won't take this personally. Monika, believe me when I say that I know this club means a lot to you. I've only been here a few days, and I can already see that. In fact, it means a lot to all of us. Every one of us cares so much for the club that we were able to soldier on and keep performing despite all the crap we got. But at the same time, perhaps Natsuki has a point. You were clearly the most enthusiastic about the festival out of everyone here. She sighs, and it's clear that she's frustrated. It wouldn't surprise me if she was disappointed in us either. Well, pardon me for wanting the club to do well. Why was everyone so against it? I didn't force any of you. You all agreed of your own accords. I thought you'd use the weekend to practice. That should have been plenty of time. The way you pushed us into it, it felt like we didn't have a choice. You guys didn't have to agree. Do you not know how to stand up for yourselves? Monika, you know how it is. It's hard as it is, having to go against your friends, but when your friend has high expectations for everything on top of that, it's just easy to get swept up in trying to keep everyone happy. And on top of that, not everyone here is as outspoken as you. Exactly! But that's not the point anyhow. You all did fine in your first recitations during our club meeting. Everything should have gone well. Well, in our first recitations we didn't have the freaking peanut gallery here. It's just that we never could have expected that people would act this way. Exactly. If the event had been a success, you can bet that this conversation wouldn't be happening right now. Well, if we never decided to do anything for the festival, then we wouldn't have had to worry about this crap anyway. But we had to do something for the festival. Do you want the club to remain stagnant forever? Is this place just supposed to be some hangout for 5 people? There's a fierce glint in those green eyes now, and I'm almost afraid of speaking up. It seems like I'm the only one who actually wants this club to do well, the only one who strives for greater heights. And how is anyone ever going to see how amazing what we've built is if we never show it to anyone? What's wrong with the club being small? I'd rather have a few people who really care than a ton of idiots who are all here because of your popularity. Quality is more important than quantity after all. I'm sure the others would agree on that front as well. Suddenly, Monika turns to face me. I won't lie. It's scary having to see the full force of the normally cool-headed and diplomatic leader's temper. Daniel, with all due respect, you haven't even been here for a week. How would you of all people know what the other members want. Monica, Daniel only means well. Monica looks like she's about to Sayori looks like she's about to say more, but one withering look from Monica stops her in her tracks. And I'm sure that many villains throughout history only meant well too. Now you're just being unfair. No, you know what's really unfair? What's unfair is the fact that I'm the one who always has to pick up the slack. The one who has to take all the blame for all the mistakes. I'm the one who has to take on the blame for all the mistakes. You think it's easy having to live up to everyone's expectations? Although I guess it's too much for you to understand, Natsuki. After all, you always heap the blame onto others and criticize everyone but yourself. Why don't you go do some introspection for once in your life? Then you might be able to see why you barely have any friends. I said it in the original video and I'll say it again. That was pretty damn uncalled for. Granted, they both said some pretty harsh things, but still. There's a silence for a moment. A silence that lengthens into impossibly long minutes. I look towards Yuri and Sayori for help, but we both look understandably shocked by Monica's words. Or both. Natsuki's face has grown red, and it looks like she's starting to tear up despite her best attempts at keeping up a hostile look. Monica, on the other hand, has turned away so that I can't see her face. Yuri, Sayori, and I exchange looks and expressions as the silence stretches out. There's a veritable game of eyebrow charades going on between the three of us. None of us know what to say or how to break the silence, but we all know that someone has to. I'm relieved that I have the two of them to rely on here, though. They've had to experience the disaster that was the festival. They've had to experience the disaster that was the festival was too. And yet, they're still fighting through their own emotions to try and keep the club together. The only sounds right now are the small sniffling sound noises coming from Natsuki. The longer the silence stretches, the harder it's going to be to break it. Somehow the three of us managed to soundlessly decide that it should be me to speak up. But before I can do so, we're surprised by Monica finally interrupting the silence with a sigh. I shouldn't have said that. No, you shouldn't. I was looking back on what I said, and, well, if someone had said those things about me, I'd be upset, to say the least. The pressure just finally broke me, I guess. I really do have tons of things going on in my life. But that doesn't excuse my actions. I shouldn't assume things about your lives when I have no idea what struggles you're going through either. Yep. I don't expect you to forgive me anytime soon, but just know that I'm sorry. Monica is still turned away, but Sayori shoots me a hopeful look. I think it's safe to say that words were said that no one really intended. Tensions were obviously running high after the disaster that the festival turned out to be, and I guess everything just boiled over in the argument. I agree, and it just goes to show how much we care about the club and each other. Even if we didn't agree, we wouldn't be feeling so horrible. Monica, you're really good at organizing these kinds of things, so I can really see why you wanted to succeed the way you did. It's only normal. But you have to remember that we all choose to come here for a reason, and that's because we enjoy it here. We really do care. I'm sorry if it seems like we're blaming you for everything going wrong, because it's definitely no one's fault. Yeah, to be fair, you didn't know that everyone here was going to be a jackass. Monica starts to slowly turn back to us. Back to face us. But you have to admit that you were kind of harsh to Natsuki. She stops moving, causing Sayori to speed on through her speech. Anyway, I'm so glad that you apologized to Natsuki in the end, because we're all friends here, and we all need to stick together. We shouldn't be fighting when we hit obstacles. We should be supporting each other. So I hope you find it in your heart to forgive her, Natsuki, even though she said some really mean things to you.
No kidding. That would be really hurtful. Well, actually, strike that, no. There was a girl from my high school who left to go to another high school, and she went around saying that I was some loser who had no friends. Case in point, she was a friend of mine, and yet she would go around saying, "Oh yeah, I remember that loser, he didn't have any friends," when someone asked about me. And I only found out about that because I still had some contacts within that school, so it's like, ha! I caught you in your web of lies. But nevertheless, I mean, it was hurtful when I found out, like, damn, seriously? Well, if I have people like you to call friends, well then, yeah, I might as well not have any friends if you're just gonna kind of be a bunch of two-faced phonies behind my back. Okay.
And hopefully we can move on from this and become closer than ever.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yes, I do believe that's the best thing we can do right... Yes, I believe that the best thing we can do right now is try to forgive each other and learn from this experience.
Monika faces us now, looking each of us in the eye. Natsuki misses her gaze, still looking down at the ground with tear-streaked cheeks.
You guys, thank you all for being the best club members I could wish for. Now that I've thought about it, it really is me who's in the wrong here. I should have just accepted that you guys weren't as into the festival idea as I was. It was wrong of me to push you into something you weren't comfortable with.
Well, that's all said and done now, so no use crying over spilt milk, right? It's in the past. We can't just go back in time, reload a save, and then try to do everything better.
No, a good president wouldn't have pressured their people into doing this. Looking back, how could I have been so selfish and blind? Everybody has momentary lapses of judgment, and you shouldn't blame yourself for that. I'm with Yuri on that. After all, you made this lovely club for all of us, and we really owe it to you for that. And Natsuki, I'm truly sorry for what I said. I was just jumping to conclusions and making false assumptions. Plus, we're all your friends, although I wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to call me a friend anymore.
We all await with bated breath for Natsuki's answer. I exchange nervous glances with Yuri and Sayori, the latter of the two actually looking like she's holding her breath. Natsuki quickly wipes the tears off of her face with her sleeves. She looks smaller than ever, and so alone. It makes me want to protect her more than ever. Keep in mind, this is still Sayori's route, technically, so... You want to say that in front of the girl you're trying to go after? Okay, well, point being, yes. In a sense, she does seem very small and delicate in that sense that she just... You, like, kind of emotionally blindsided her with that comment. And you really... Like, if we're thinking about the first Spider-Man movie, where the Green Goblin is like, "We attack his heart!" You just attacked her heart, pretty much. You really hurt her where it would hurt the most.
Whatever. It's fine. The only thing I ask...
She looks down at the floor, then to her right, and then at the ceiling. It's as if she's hoping for the right words to appear in front of her.
The only thing I want is for us to stop fighting. I come to this club to get away from all that junk, and I don't want things to be ruined. So yeah, if it'll make things go back to normal, I'll forgive you.
Sayori gives a little hop in excitement when Natsuki says that. and I can't help but sigh in relief as well. Monika smiles gently at Natsuki, who finally meets her eyes.
Thank you for putting the club above your own feelings, Natsuki.
Yeah, I don't think I'm wrong in saying that we all appreciate it.
You guys should hug it out. I get that it must have taken a lot to say that, so I'm truly grateful for that.
Monika reaches out to hug Natsuki, but the smaller girl flinches away.
I'm sorry. I should have known that it'd be too soon. No, well, it's fine.
Natsuki makes an attempt at smiling at Natsuka. Who is Natsuka? I don't know. Natsuki makes an attempt at smiling at Monika.
It may take some time for reconciliation to be finished with, but I'm happy that everyone is trying their best. Yeah, reconsideration can take a long time.
Retribution.
No, that's not quite right.
Well, close enough. Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother arguing that. Besides, that joke has been done with so many times, especially by me. And with that, the spell holding us all in place seems to have been broken. Any of you staying to check out the rest of the festival?
No, I'm feeling quite exhausted after the emotional stress we've just had to endure,
she says while she's doing the funny.
Me too. All I want to do right now is take a long nap.
Same here, honestly.
We still have to clean up the classroom, though.
We all grimly to face the mess that the visitors have left behind. I'm not really looking forward to cleaning that up. But you gotta do it.
Do we have to?
You don't want to make the janitors do it, I mean... You know...
Sayori, you don't want to betray our club's advisor now, do you?
That too.
Why are you always right, Yuri?
Because she's the smartest one in the club. She's the genius. Everyone chuckles a bit, with even Natsuki betraying a smile on her face.
I'm sure that it's less work than it looks, so I think it's fine if some of us leave early. Hey Daniel, how about you walk Natsuki home for a change? I'm sure that Sayori's sick of your company by now.
Monika, is there something you're not telling me here? That either of you aren't telling me? Well, fine, if you don't want me here, then I'll just leave. Que barbara. Seriously. It's sweet of Monika to let Natsuki off the hook like that, and in such a casual way, too. This way, it doesn't look like she's babying her or anything.
Hey, no fair. I want to go home, too.
Then why are you pretending to hate me then? Sayori pretends to pout for a bit, but quickly regains a smile on her face.
Ha! Fooled you! Come on, guys, the faster we work, the faster we'll get to go home. And forget this day ever happened. Except we won't. Because I know the future.
After exchanging goodbyes, I walk out of the classroom with Natsuki. It's surreal to hear the sounds of chatter and laughter floating towards us from the rest of the festival after everything that just took place. A silence falls between us. I'm not sure whether I should try to cheer her up, or just leave her alone with her thoughts. I spot a vending machine at the end of the hall, and decide on the former. Here, do you want a snack? A little sugar always cheers me up when I feel down. I just realized there's a joke I could make in this. Did I? I don't think I made that joke in the original. Wow, how did I not make that joke in the original video? Well, I'm not going to make it now. So we're going to give... Damn it, I almost made it!
Sure, I guess.
What do you want? Which one do you want?
It doesn't really matter, but chocolate's pretty good.
Chocolate? Did you say chocolate? With or without nuts? I approach the vending machine, digging some change out of my pockets. Within a few moments, a solid thunk sounds from the bottom of the machine. I hand her the bar of chocolate. Chocolate? I just picked one of my favorites, so I hope we have similar tastes.
White chocolate. Not bad. If you chose the wrong one, I'd have to punch you in the next Thursday.
Does that mean she likes it? Either that, or she's saying that you both have the same awful taste in chocolate. I watch as she carefully places the snack into her bag. You're not gonna eat it? My question seems to startle Natsuki, and I feel a little bad when she jumps a bit. I guess she's still feeling a little shaky.
No, I kind of like to savor things in my own time.
Not a bad idea. I tend to blow through snacks and stuff myself.
I guess I try to make things last as long as possible.
That's pretty understandable.
You ate my only source of food. Now I'm gonna starve.
Man, what is it with me and the SpongeBob references? With that, another silence falls over us, but this time it's a comfortable silence. We walk together side by side as the Toa of Metro Nui, in a bubble of companionship that seems to include just the two of us, and that makes the festival a distant reality. One that I want to forget. It isn't until we've reached the school entrance that I break the silence again. Which way you headed? I'm going that way. I point to my left, causing Natsuki to give me a wry smile.
I'm in the opposite direction.
Oh, well. I guess I'll see you tomorrow then. I'm not gonna walk you home like a gentleman. Like the gentleman that Monica apparently thinks I am.
Daniel?
Yes? Huh?
It's okay if I keep coming to the club, right?
Why? Why would you even say that?
Huh? What do you mean? Of course you can. I mean, we're all going to be expecting you back. We're all going to be expecting you back there. We're all going to be expecting you back there. Never mind. See ya.
My cakes will burn.
After that, she whirls around and darts away, leaving behind nothing but confusion in the air. Well, I guess I'll ask her about it tomorrow, but for now, it's time to make the trek home. Okay, and so after we took Natsuki's side, I guess now we are going to side with Monica here. Which was where the original video from this part got screwed up. So anyways, let's see. Something tells me this is going to make me very unpopular with Natsuki. I brace myself for what's going to come next. Prepare yourself. Natsuki, come on. You know better than I do that Monica loves the club. It's only natural she'd want to share it with the rest of the school.
Ugh, seriously? You're taking her side? I can't believe this.
No, it's not like that. I'm not taking her side. It's just what?
That's exactly what you're trying to do, Daniel. Don't try and backpedal. Natsuki, that's not what he's trying to say. He just... Oh, of course you're jumping to his aid. Shut up, Monica.
Monica looks furious, and for a moment, I think Natsuki has finally gone too far. She closes her eyes and takes a deep breath, evidently trying to contain her anger. Geez, Natsuki, don't you think that was a little out of order? You didn't have to shout at her.
What do you know? You haven't been here for 5 days. Why is everyone making me out to be the bad guy here? Remember when Monica said she'd make sure people weren't going to be rude during our performances? Wow, congratulations. She sure did a fantastic job with that. It's not like anyone wolf whistled at Yuri or anything, was it? Some enforcer you were.
Her bitter, sarcastic triad continues on, each point worsening the atmosphere.
I'm the only one who can see this for what it is. It's just Monica trying to use the club to boost her popularity. And it sickens me. You think we're all just, what, some sort of pawns for you? Explains why you didn't even consider how reluctant we all were to do this, or why you let everyone just walk all over us. Natsuki, you're just being ridiculous now. Why would I want to hurt all of us? It's not exactly been easy on me either.
Natsuki lets out a snort of derision.
Huh, you? What would you of all people know about life being hard?
Monica blinks, looking as though she's been slapped.
It's easy for you, Monica. With your role as queen of the school, everyone liking you, all that crap. You have such a perfect life and all. Never having to defend your interests, never having to ridicule you for the things you like. I share classes with those assholes, and and you can bet they're gonna have a lot of fun telling everyone else about how much of a loser we all are. And guess what? It's all because of you. It's all because of you.
I can practically hear the venom dripping from her words at this point. It's absolutely horrible.
Face it. Sayori would be a better president than you could ever be.
And with that, a sickening silence falls onto the room once more. But this time, it's a million times worse. The fire in Natsuki's eyes is blazing, and quiet sobs can be heard from Yuri. Sayori is miserably hugging herself, looking completely lost for words. Monica is wearing a stony expression on her face, looking both enraged and heartbroken. The whole club waits for her reply to the bombshell Natsuki just dropped on her. But without a word, Monica turns on her heel and walks out of the door, the impact of Natsuki's words hanging in the air behind her. No one knows what to say. For a few moments, the heavy silence remains. We all exchange looks. Yuri is meekly wiping her eyes on her sleeve, and Sayori is standing around awkwardly. Natsuki, on the other hand, is refusing to meet anyone's gaze. She looks like she's regretting her words a little bit.
You guys? Please, can we make sure that never happens again? It was awful. That was horrible to experience, to say the least.
Without Monica to restore order and keep things going, the club suddenly feels very aimless and disorganized.
Natsuki, I know you're angry, but can you please find Monica and apologize? But please? I know you're feeling a bit guilty over what you just said. After all, you were a bit mean.
Natsuki grumbles something under her breath. Nah, it's okay. I'll go and find Monica. No offense, Natsuki, but I don't think she'd particularly want to see you right now. I wince as the words leave my mouth. There's probably a more diplomatic way of saying it. Natsuki glares at me. Fine. As I turn to leave, I slightly motion to Yuri and Sayori to try and talk to Natsuki. Sayori nods and Yuri nervously swallows. Now, where would Monica go? She would probably want somewhere quiet where she could be by herself, right? Which rules out the classrooms, the courtyard, and the cafeteria. The only two places coming to mind are the girls' toilets or the rooftop. Well, I'm hoping it isn't the girls' toilets, because then that's going to be pretty awkward for everybody. I make my way over to the staircase that leads to the top, thinking about how this conversation is going to go. Will she even want to talk to me? She didn't even say anything as she left. Was she that upset? Although, given what Natsuki said, I really wouldn't blame Monica. Guess there's only one way to find out. There's a door at the top of the stairs which opens out to the rooftop. Bracing myself, I put my hand on the cold steel door handle and push the door open. Man, the view up here really is something. I shiver as the wind cuts through my blazer. It's a cold and desolate place. A fitting setting for what just happened. I look around, and there she is. Leaning slightly over the barriers at the edge of the rooftop, face turned away from me. Not a peep sounds from her, not even when the wind slams the door behind me closed. Monica? No answer. I slowly approach her, making as little noise as possible in some illogical attempt to not scare her away. You, looked pretty upset, so I thought I'd come find you. I trail off, mentally berating myself at how weak that must have sounded. She stays completely still as I sidle up to her side, leaning on the railing so that I can see her face. I don't know what I expected, but her expression is oddly calm. Monica?
Beautiful view, isn't it?
Yeah, you could say that.
Is that the reason you came up here? It's part of it. On days like this, the wind and the eternally stretching blue sky make me feel like I can go anywhere. It feels freeing. There's something comforting in the possibility of getting swallowed up by that blue. Being able to simultaneously take control and lose control.
Monica, well, I know that you're obviously not okay. But I'm gonna ask if you're okay to know if you're okay. I'm going to ask if you're okay so that you can choose to talk to me about whatever if you want to. To give you an opportunity to open up. So, are you okay? A thin smile appears on her face. Progress?
That's sweet of you, Daniel. To be honest, I didn't expect you to have any tact at all.
Because you think I'm an idiot. Me neither. Well, we know he's an idiot, kind of, but let's not go there. I already spent the other 45 videos doing that.
Did you expect that I'd be crying up here? Contemplating suicide or something? Don't worry. I wouldn't do that just because of the festival.
Well, I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to cry it out.
You know, I actually thought that I would cry at first. But maybe I'm all cried out. I guess I've come to terms with all the things that Natsuki said already.
She says such weighty words so casually. What Natsuki said wasn't true, Monica. I think that you're a fantastic president. I hasten to try and give less empty words after she arches an eyebrow at me. Oh, really? And I'm not just saying that to cheer you up either. Remember what you said before the festival, during your little pep talk? She faintly nods. Well, I'm going to reiterate it anyway because it's important that you're aware of how much I mean it. Thank you. For everything. You took me in when I really needed it. Remember how I said earlier that I've been feeling lonely? She nods again. Well, that's how things have been for me recently. I haven't seen much of my parents lately, and most of my days I'd spend alone. All of that changed when I joined your club. You were all so friendly and welcoming. Not once did you ever turn me away because I wasn't a poet. I mean, between you and me, I know my poems weren't the greatest.
You have a lot of potential, Daniel. I did like your poems.
Well, I'm glad you think so. But anyway, that's beside the point. You accepted me for who I was, and was willing to help me. And more importantly, you've created something that 3 other girls hold dear to their hearts. Definitely a sign of a good president, if you ask me. Monica looks down for a moment, as if composing herself, and then meets my eyes with a smile.
Thank you, Daniel. It really means a lot. Like I said earlier, Hearing all this from a newcomer really does make me believe I've hit the goals I set for myself. All I wanted was to create a little haven that people could call home, no matter their writing ability.
Well, take it from someone who joined only a few days ago then. You've definitely succeeded. We dreamed of creating the world's strongest Pokemon, and we've succeeded. Sorry, wrong movie. Also, had you not made this club, I would never have gone to meet Yuri and Natsuki, or been able to hang out with Sayori again. Nor would I have gotten to know you better either, and that would have been a real shame, huh? I playfully nudge her, receiving a nudge back. Oh, you. This past week has probably been the happiest I've been in a long, long time. And that is all thanks to you. We share a smile, one that I'm now sure is completely genuine on Monica's part.
I don't really know what to say.
It's okay, seriously. I just wanted you to know how I felt. Anyway, Natsuki was a bit out of order with her words, but honestly, I don't think she meant it. I guess tensions were just running really high, and you know better than I do how fiery she can be.
Yeah, I know she was really upset, but hearing those words, it hit pretty deep, you know? I tried telling myself not to take her words to heart because I knew she was just upset. But it was that line about Sayori being a better president. I don't know why it got under my skin so much.
It was just spite, Monica. People say awful things that they don't mean when they're upset. Yep, sometimes to even the people you love. Like, as much as my mom and I had that sort of mutual understanding between each other, I know she did get angry at me, and she did say some hurtful things to me. Especially in this one time where I had misplaced some papers for a science project of some sort. And she just got really angry at me, thinking that I was so absent-minded and that, in a sense, as if my head is just full of nothing all day, and this was truly before she really understood, in a sense, the way my mind works, how forgetful I can be, and all that. And then, of course, she was in denial that I had a certain condition to begin with, so. But when I brought it up to her again, she just said that she said it at the spur of the moment and she didn't mean it. Well, to me, she said that to me when I was 14, and here I am almost a decade later, and to me it just feels like, well, you say that you didn't mean it, but it still weighs down on me in a sense. She basically told me to get a life, which is ironic because, in a sense, my mom didn't really allow me to have a life, in a sense. She kind of kept me at home most of the time. And then when her health started going south, well, I felt terrible just leaving her by herself, so. There were times when I had been invited to parties and gatherings and whatever, but I just said no to all of them because I wanted to stay home and take care of her. Because I didn't want to leave her. So, my aunt was the one who kind of brought up the irony of that, saying, well, she told me to get a life, and yet she wouldn't let me get a life. And even then, I was 14, what kind of life did you expect me to have, exactly? But anyways, case in point though, well, my mom was angry, and in a sense she was kinda sort of holding me back. So she said something very hurtful and illogical by telling me to go get a life because she apparently thought that my head was full of sawdust and that I forget everything easily just because I don't care, or like I have nothing going on in my head, when in fact I have so many things going on in my head that sometimes it's impossible to keep track of it all. So kind of also like what Monica said in the other answer choice, you don't really know what a person's dealing with. So sometimes when you say these things, it comes out that much more hurtful because you don't understand what they're going through. Like when she told Natsuki that she doesn't have any friends, well, do you know why it seems as though Natsuki doesn't have any friends? Or are you boldly assuming that she has no friends whatsoever? You know, like how well do you know Natsuki? How well do you know me? You know? Sayuri and Yuri are talking to her now, and I get the feeling she wants to apologize, but just doesn't know how to. Well, that's definitely something Natsuki needs to work on. And by the way, thank you for making the effort to find me. It really means a lot. I'm suddenly struck by the situation I'm in. Here I am, alone, with one of the most attractive, popular girls of the year, having a heart-to-heart. Probably a situation most of the other guys in school would kill to be in. My face heats up a little as I process the heartfelt, rather vulnerable scene we're both in. You're welcome, Monica. Nothing to thank me for. I sheepishly scratch the back of my neck. We should go and find the others, though. Don't want them to worry or anything. We stand up and make our way back to the door. I hope so. It wasn't exactly nice to be told you have a perfect life, and that you've never experienced any difficulties. See? On the flip side, Natsuki doesn't really know much about Monica's life. But that's really Monica's kind of choice in a way. Which, I mean, to each their own. You know? Kind of like how my mom was very... I guess she kind of kept more to herself about her private life. So... like, there was some stuff about... like... what am I trying to say? Like, she pretty much kept her illness and her health a secret from everybody except for me. So when my mom went to the hospital, my aunt was even all like, I didn't realize it was this bad. And I'm just here thinking to myself like, yeah, for sure, you didn't. The only reason you didn't know, though, was because my mom did not want anyone to know, and she definitely didn't want me to go tell anybody. So, in a way, you could consider this ironic, considering that I'm technically telling anybody who would care to listen to this video. As we make our way back to the club, I just hope Sayori and Yuri were able to talk some sense into Natsuki. The last thing we need is another argument. Isn't that the truth? She's silent as we wordlessly make our way back to the classroom. We finally arrive. I squeeze her shoulder as she takes a deep breath and walks in.
Ah! They're back!
Yuri and Sayori hurry over to us, looking weirdly at Monica. Meanwhile, Natsuki remains standing off to the side by herself, arms folded.
Hey guys, I'm alright, really. Taking some time outside helped clear my head, and I'm feeling a lot better now. Not to mention, Daniel was a real help too. I'm relieved. It was a frightening prospect to consider losing our club president. Yeah, now everyone's calmed down and we can talk things out. Natsuki, why don't you come join us?
Ah, fine. She drags her feet as she makes her way over to us. I notice Monica fidgeting with the hem of her skirt, and smile reassuringly at her. Okay, so I'm here. Natsuki's eyes dart up to meet Monica's for just a second. So, There's an awkward silence as Natsuki's voice trails away. Sayuri raises her eyebrows at her, causing the smaller girl to return with a glare.
I think Natsuki means to say I think what Natsuki means to say is that she just said all those things in the heat of the moment.
Like I said, that's what my mom did with me.
A crime of passion, as it were.
You know, I've always... I forgot what it was, but a friend of mine made a joke about a crime of passion. And I'm just here thinking to myself, I wish I could remember what the hell we were talking about, but for some reason I just thought, like, what would that be? Basically, like, I guess a joke I use, like the people who ship Sephiroth and Aerith. Basically, I love you, now die. So he stabs her because he passionately loves her. You see, that's why that couple does not make any sense to me. Well, that's one of the reasons why it doesn't. So would you consider Sephiroth murdering Aerith a crime of passion if you ship those two like FedEx? So that's why I'm just here wondering, what defines a crime of passion? Especially because when I think passion, I think, well, you know. Anyways.
Hey! Geez, I can speak for myself, okay?
She says that, but...
You sure about that?
Alright, I'm just gonna get this over with. What I wanted to say was that I didn't mean it when I said you were a bad president. But I sure meant all the other stuff I said.
Okay, no.
I mean, I guess it's pretty clear that you care a lot about the club.
Sayuri nods vigorously at her, egging her on. Come on.
It's just that those jerks pissed me off so much that I blurted out random things and needed to vent. Well, I won't lie, it does seem like you always get special treatment because you're so popular, Monica. But then again, I wouldn't know what you have to go through. You're on a totally different level from the rest of us.
Okay, there we go. That a girl.
Natsuki. Anyway, that's all I guess. I've always seen you as a friend, and, I hope you'll still be able to see me as one, too.
There's tension in the air once again as we anxiously await for Monica's response. Natsuki shifts back and forth on her feet, looking like she almost wants to run away from the scene.
Thank you for saying that. I'm not going to lie, your comment doubting my presidency hurt. It's definitely not true, though. You're a great president, Monica.
Yeah, you brought us all together. Without you, we wouldn't have become friends, and I wouldn't have been introduced to the world of poetry. Welcome to the exciting world of poetry. Starring... okay, no.
I agree. It's an amazing feeling to be able to talk to like-minded individuals.
Well, at least this face kind of makes more sense now. But that other time, it just felt like... Yuri, are you kind of being sarcastic?
Not as far as as far as presidents go, we could definitely do worse.
And so what if you nudged us into the festival? I guess it's only normal for the president of all people to want the club to grow. What a funny notion. Don't you think so, funny lady?
Thanks, guys. I guess after all that, I have no choice but to accept Natsuki's apology, eh?
What do you mean, after all that? You mean you wouldn't have in the first place? I mean, it'd be really great if you could. You know, that way it's not as awkward for the rest of us when you two have to be in the same room as each other like you are right now.
That's certainly an understatement.
Yep, the funny lady agrees. We all turn to look at Yuri, surprised at the glimpse of a humorous side to her. What are you surprised about? She's the funny lady. Of course she has a humorous side. In fact, I think she has the best humorous side out of all of you. Even you. Well, I don't know. Your humor is definitely on another level, though. So much so that I got my eye on you.
Did I say something strange?
No, you said something funny.
Oh, Yuri, you're so funny.
See? Sayori agrees. The funny lady has spoken. I let out a breath that I'd been subconsciously holding. Oh right, I need to breathe. Humans have to do that for some reason. It seems like everything's turned out well in the end, or at least as well as they can, given the circumstances. All's well that ends well. That's what the guy who wears the upside-down tutu on his neck says.
Okay, everyone.
Stupid sexy Monica. And with that catchphrase, everything seems all right in the world once again.
All is right in the world. I totally forgot to mention this, but we still need to clean everything up. I'm sure with all of us working together, it won't take that long to do.
I'm assuming everyone's just going to skip the festival and go home after this?
I'm pretty tired after all that stuff just happened. As am I.
Same here.
I wish I could leave too, but I have a shift in my class's cafe after this.
Oh right, I forgot about that.
It's alright though, everyone get moving then, so you can all go home.
Everyone starts cleaning up the room, myself included. Yuri and Oski start picking up the essential oil setup and cupcake trays, respectively. Meanwhile, Sayori, Monica, and I pick up everything left on the ground and the desks. It's like we're erasing all traces that the festival ever happened here. The only thing we can't erase is our memories of this terrible, terrible day ever happening. Although, I can't help but think that there's still lingering tension in the air, despite Monica's cheery expression. I have a feeling that Monica might just be putting the club before herself in that case, or in this case. But the only thing I can do now is hope that everyone will feel better tomorrow. All we can do is hope for a better tomorrow. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop. It'll soon be here. Every day, it'll be sooner than you thought. Yesterday's gone. Yesterday's gone. It'll be pretty nice to get home from school early for a change and be able to relax. Although, now that I think about it, I really only have anime and video games to look forward to. I guess that's everything that's happened, or I guess that everything that's happened today is going to be plaguing my mind tonight. And then nothing of any relative importance happened whatsoever. Okay. It's been a while since I've said that, hasn't it? Well, I guess considering this is technically the first new episode of Blue Skies that I've made in forever, then, yeah. But, okay, well, that's all I was going to cover for this video, so, yeah. So I guess I can kind of throw out that other one. The one that kind of got all with the screwed up part at the end. So, okay, well then, yeah, I didn't think I'd be coming back to this series after I said, okay, this is the last episode, I'm not going to make any more, unless I am able to come back to it at another time for the other Monica video I wanted to make. But that's still not an option, really, for me right now. So anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with whatever else I do. Stay golden, and later, folks.